Hi everybody, welcome to KT Wearable Art. I'm going to show you some mistakes that I've made recently to help perhaps somebody avoid the same ones. I made these beads Is it focusing? They turned yellow. I set my toaster oven to 250 degrees. My Kato clay should be baked at 300 degrees. My oven always spikes. Unfortunately, I wasn't paying attention and I put them in there and they turned a nasty yellow. I'm going to show you how I'm going to fix this. Not by doing what I traditionally would have done, which would be to maybe zap it with a heat gun. That did not work. It only made it more yellow. I put it back in there. Some internet people have mentioned to increase the heat when it comes to making your translucent more clear. It does not always work. It just, my oven spiked and it ruined it. So I'm going to show you what I'm going to do to fix it. So I've cut out more white clay and more of my polymer cane, and I recovered the base bead. So I'm going to take these slices of my white clay, thin it out as much as I can, and I'm going to cover the hole that I originally made and put one on both sides. Where that hole is, I don't want to lose that hole. And so at this point I'm going to take my toothpick or my piercing tool and try to poke that hole so I know where to find it. And I've cut one of these slices in half. I'm going to actually take two of these slices and fill in this area here. I'll try to zoom you in a little more. At this point, I'm going to smooth this out. And keep my eye on where the hole originally was. Nope, that wasn't it. There it is. Once I have this completely smooth, I'm going to reapply now my sheets of polymer clay canes. Set that hole on top and the one that's directly on the bottom so that I know that that's going to be centered. Once I have my sheet that's on top and bottom, I'm going to lightly smooth this out and then add again around my edges. So I have to recut my canes in small slices. I'm going to use my polymer cane extruder. Extruder is plural. The small round in the 1/2 inch and the large round in 1 inch. I've already cut several pieces of the white and the large round cane. I'm going to mist the inside of my cane extruder with water. Insert my reduced polymer cane. This one was a flower cane with this translucent Kato. I've conditioned it and reduced it, and now I'm going to insert it and slightly compress. You don't want to over compress it because it'll get stuck. Wipe off any excess water, and I'm going to cut several slices of this now. I'm not using the guide on here. It comes out very quickly. Sometimes if you push too hard, it's just a small little hand motion. You won't even see me doing it. I'm just using the back of my hand, squeezing out and taking slices, paper thin slices. If I push too much out, I just push it back in. I just want paper thin slices. I'm going to slide my hand backwards so they don't get stuck on each other. And I might need to readjust my hand. These polymer cane extruders I have on my Etsy account. I'll leave a link. I cut that one too thin. And so now I'm going to take my base bead that I already covered with sheets of the white. Take a large sheet, put my hole, center that right in the middle. Take another sheet of this large 1-inch clay and try to center it as closely as I can on top. Make a sandwich. Smooth that down. And then I'm going to take these small slices and center them all around the bead. I already did one here. And then I had to find the hole again. That's why you have to be careful. Use a small skewer so you don't make too many holes. Once you find your hole again, you can enlarge it with a toothpick or a piercing tool. I'm going to rebake these, but I am going to make sure this time that my oven temperature is accurate. I never had to worry too much before, but this translucent Kato had gotten a gross, ugly yellow. I'll come back and show you what it looks like when they're done. So these round beads, I want to smooth the top and the bottom first. Make sure it's not wonky. And now let me get this tool here. I'm going to separate all these slices so they don't stick. Look at how many you can slice very quickly. You saw how fast I was able to do it. I just eyeball these. Now once they're separated, I can easily put them on. If you let them sit too long, they get stuck on each other. Some of these are so paper thin that if you don't separate them right away, they will reconnect. Look at how tiny that is. Now, I'm going to put these all around the center. Oh, messed that one up. Move that one over a little bit. trying to put uniform pressure without overdoing it. Smooth it out as much as I can. And I'm going to refine the holes and then bake it. And I'll get back with you and show you the final results. Now the smallest piercing tool, I will try to find the hole, the original hole. Get it from the other side. Ah, got it. And then poke it through. See, now it wasn't centered on the flower, so that's why you want to use a smaller skewer so you don't have holes everywhere. Now I do have to try to hide these other ones. Let's see, where is this smoothing tool? I'll use the inside of my polymer cane extruder to smooth out that additional hole I just made. Examine it for spots that shouldn't be there. I'm going to smooth this out some more, bake these, and I'll come back. So moving right along and covering these base beads once again with the white base. I took a speck of a piece of red and covered the hole so that when I go to re-pierce it, I'll know where the hole is. Can you see that tiny little speck of a speck? And so I found the center of my rose cane, and I'm going to try to line that up on both sides. Otherwise, to try to find these holes once they're pierced will be almost impossible. So again, I'm going to thin this out a little bit. Try to find the center. Cover. Now look, I lost that, so I'm going to re-pierce the other side with the smallest needle so that I don't make too many obvious holes. There we go. At least that way now I'll know the center of my rose will be as close as possible. And so moving right along, I'll bake these and let you know how they came out. So my toaster oven has been heating up now for about 10 minutes. Kato was supposed to be baked at 300 degrees. My oven temperature was set at 225 degrees, even less than that. And it was spiking at 325, almost 100 degrees difference. And so I redid all my beads, and I'm waiting for the temperature to come back down. I lowered it even more. And so it's set now to just slightly below 225 degrees. And I'm waiting for the temperature to come down. I'm only going to bake this 10 minutes because the core is already baked, and there's just a thin coat of the face on here. And so I'll get back with you and show you the results. Maybe 10 minutes is all I'm going to put it in there. I'm so annoyed. I just finished drilling out all my beads, and I realized that I shouldn't have made all the holes through the main rows. When I recovered these beads, I was trying to center the hole through the center of the rose. Taking a small little piece of this and filling in the hole. I'll have to re-drill it, re-bake these. So I'm taking a small piece here and making sure that this is just in there enough to cover that hole and to be smooth. I'm going to drill these afterwards. I don't like where I placed those holes, so I have to re-drill them. And I don't want a flat spot here either, so I have to make sure that it's not too flat. Mistakes, mistakes, that's how you learn. So the necklace is done. Recovered the beads, made some small heshy beads, tied knots between each one. Each knot takes about 3/4 of an inch. So extra beads require extra cording. This is just a satin cord. I put a little squeeze pinch bail. I'm going to attach a little extra chain to give me a little extra length. But these little heshy type beads, you just slip on, make a knot, and then use a pin to slide the knot down good and tight. With these cords, you'll have to burn the end. Pinch bail in there. Got these from Amazon. They break very easy though, so be careful. You only pinch the center. Okay. And look, there's no even name on here. They're just center pinch bails. Bails? No, not bails. Maybe it is a bail. Anyway, I've broken 2. Let's see if I can get the 3rd one without breaking. And then, of course, the clasp. This one already has a jump ring on it. So some lessons learned when drilling your beads, especially. The pattern has the main flower on the front and the back, and then I had the smaller roses around the sides of the flower. And so I made the mistake of not checking my oven, my toaster oven. My Black & Decker toaster oven spikes terribly. And it doesn't just spike, it just runs hot. It can run up to 100 degrees hotter than expected. That's ridiculous. And so with that said, check your oven every time. I have it set to 225. I use a lot of Kato clay, if not exclusively, and that runs it, cooks at 300 degrees, bakes, cooks, cures at 300 degrees. And so I set my toaster oven to 225 to 250. And so I just got too busy and was not checking it. And listening to some other people that they put their pieces in their ovens and then turn their ovens on. I had left my business of jewelry making for quite some time. And I got a little sidetracked when it came to not checking my oven. And you have to check it. I burnt my beads, but I recovered them. And when recovering your beads, the thin veneer becomes more fragile when drilling. And so when you drill your hole, when you come through to the other side, you have to be very careful. You just don't drill it through. I have a drill press, and so I make my holes a lot bigger because the stringing material that I strung this necklace on was satin cording, and so my hole needed to be bigger. And so when you're using a veneer and you go to drill your hole, make sure you place it right. I accidentally drilled all my holes from the flower to the back, but then you couldn't see any of the flower, the large flower. So I had to re-drill at least every other one. I almost drilled every one. Like, no, I can't do that either. And so I wanted the holes to go through the side on every other one. And so be careful where you drill your holes, otherwise you're going to be making a mistake and re-drilling them all over again. So lessons learned. Be careful your oven temperature is not too hot every time. I ordered a new oven thermometer in case mine is off and wonky. I'd like to get a new toaster oven, maybe down the road. When you cover or make a mistake and burn your beads and you recover them, you can recover them. And just be careful when you drill the hole, when you come through to the other side, that you don't just go very quickly, go very slow. And so I had to take a few of those that I re-drilled. I had to fill in a hole, and even it was a hassle. So one problem after the other, but that's how you learn from your mistakes.